Welcome to the Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
Andy Blanchard.
I'm sorry, #1 prequels loyalist, Andy Blanchard.
What up?
I'm pretty
Prequel
sure
memes.
that's your full name now.
It's my job title now.
Now, if you thought all of those Star Wars Rogue One reshoots sounded foreboding last summer, you know, all of the hysteria, like, oh no, it's all gonna be ruined. Wait till you hear about the shitstorm swirling around the upcoming Han Solo spin-off.
The film's directing duo has officially been fired midway through production, and now rumors abound that the movie is in a terrible state with bad acting, a confused vision, and a poor understanding of Han Solo in general. Come on, guys, really? Han Solo?
It's all good news, all good news. Just kidding, that's
How do you
way
mess up Han
worse
Solo?
than anything we got with Rogue One. How do you mess up Han Solo? And that's way worse than anything we got with Rogue One, and people were freaking out about that one last year. Now, word about the Han Solo film's directors being fired hit yesterday when both Lucasfilm and directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller released separate statements.
Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy said in her statement, "Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are talented filmmakers who have assembled an incredible cast and crew, but it's become clear that we had different creative visions on the film and we've decided to part ways."
But of course, everyone always says creative differences, and that's usually code for that, well, something that's a lot worse. And boy, does it sound like that's the case on the Han Solo film, based on all the reports coming from a variety of insiders. It sounds like a mess.
It's a little cliche. So what really happened? Well, at the root of it all, it sounds like there was a big clash over the tone and direction of the movie, particularly in how the directors were approaching the character of Han Solo.
Now, it's important to note that both Lord and Miller come from a very strong comedy background, having made films like The Lego Movie and 21 Jump Street, which were both very well loved for their senses of humor, for their approaches, for their tone. It sounded great, right?
I think it would have been fine, but it's just like, I don't know if it's a Han Solo movie.
But you know what you're getting.
We know, yeah. When they hired them, they knew what they were getting into, and they clearly they wanted to make something different. But here we go. That got everyone excited to see what the two would do in a Star Wars movie.
With Han Solo in particular. I mean, he's an irreverent character.
Yeah. But it sounds like there was a conflict from day one. Variety reports that Lord and Miller clashed for months with Kennedy, who didn't like how the pair operated.
Yeah. Well, Lord and Miller apparently like a lot of improvisation on set. Kennedy, not a fan. Neither was longtime Star Wars collaborator Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire Strikes Back and helped shape much of the Han Solo character that we know today. Both Kennedy and Kasdan favored a more structured, sticking with the script approach, while Lord and Miller typically have a much looser set where the actors are free to improvise.
Variety reported that Miller and Lord pushed back against Kennedy's control and felt like they weren't getting the freedom to run the production the way they wanted to. While Kennedy has clashed with other directors like Gareth Edwards on Rogue One over many of the same reasons, it sounds like past directors eventually played ball. As for Lord and Miller, it sounds like the two had felt like they had paid their dues in Hollywood and wanted to make a movie their way.
Right, which is theoretically what you hire them for. A source told Variety it was a culture clash from day one. She didn't even like the way they folded their socks.
There are also big differences of opinion in how the Han Solo character should be portrayed. Kasdan apparently questioned many of the pair's directing choices and felt like Lord and Miller did not understand the character of Han Solo, treating him as a comedic rather than a sarcastic and selfish. Which, if you don't want a more comedy-focused, quippy Han Solo, maybe don't hire directors that were famous for their comedies. I don't know. Just some free advice.
Maybe, possibly. Now, some fellow directors have come to Lord and Miller's defense when it comes to improvising on set. Jordan McRoberts, who directed Kong Skull Island and is currently in charge of the Metal Gear Solid movie, which actually sounds like it could be promising in his hands, fingers crossed, tweeted, "Remember one crucial thing, Han Solo, like a boss, quipping, 'I know,' in response to Leia saying, 'I love you,' was improvised."
Again, one of the greatest lines in cinematic history. Which is a solid point, but to be fair, that was one line. But
it's true, not an entire movie, one line, but still.
Yeah, but you know, it sounds like the differences between Kennedy and the directors went even further than how a set was run. They apparently had completely different ideas about what genre the movie would be.
And socks.
Yeah.
Now, in an interview with Variety last year, Kennedy said she wanted the film to have a heist or Western type feel.
At some point, the production went on hiatus so they could check out the footage that had been shot, and Kennedy was, well, she wasn't a fan. Slash Film reported that Kennedy wasn't happy with what she saw and didn't think the footage felt like a Star Wars movie, which is a problem if you're making a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, a little bit. And that I get. They have a very specific feel. Even Rogue One, it was a departure from the feel of the other Star Wars films, but it did still feel like a Star Wars
It was new.
film.
It had no crawl. It was new.
It was new. Had no crawl.
No crawl.
So that's everything that we have substantiated reports on coming from all sides of the industry. But then there are some additional rumors now circulating out there as well, which are a little bit more worrisome than all of that, if true, which is a lot considering how worrisome what's confirmed is.
Oh, God. I have a bad feeling about this. Got one in. These rumors come from the Weekly Planet podcast, whose hosts say that they've heard from someone associated with the film that not only did Kathleen Kennedy not like the tone, she also hated the movie's action set pieces and even the acting of the film's main characters.
That's kind of hard to fix in post.
Yes.
But let's get back to what we do know. Now, as is expected with any big budget cinematic universe movie these days, as they did with Rogue One last year, Kennedy and Lucasfilm ordered extensive reshoots along with someone else to lead the creative on them.
That's not totally unprecedented. It's actually quite similar to how they handled Rogue One. Lucasfilm hired Tony Gilroy to come in and not only direct the reshoot to help Edwards out, but he also recut the movie with him as well.
However, the directors weren't as agreeable as Edwards at the suggestion, and that the reshoots needed to be done with some new creatives at the helm, and once they pushed back and said, no way, they got canned.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller also released a statement yesterday. Unfortunately, our revision and process weren't aligned with our partners of the project. We normally aren't fans of the phrase creative differences, but for once this cliche is true. Hey, it is cliche. We are really proud of the amazing and world-class work of our cast and crew.
Yeah, reportedly the two just met over the production hiatus with DC about The Flash, another movie that's kind of been in director hell, and the movie they turned down in order to do Han Solo. So, hey, maybe at least they've got something lined up. They're not going to be out of a job, and maybe The Flash will do better with improvisation, assuming DC doesn't get too DC about it and they just let the directors do their thing. It worked for Wonder Woman.
That was a good movie.
Right. So what does this mean for Han Solo? Well, not a great look for the movie in its current state, which seems to be in a much worse spot than Rogue One was this same time last year. There are a lot of issues with it. The main thing being this makes me think more Suicide Squad than Rogue One.
Oh, God, don't say that.
I know you said don't say that, but here's the thing is, like, the major thing with Suicide Squad, it wasn't just that they did reshoots and such, it was that the director and the studio wanted entirely different tones.
Yeah.
They wanted different approaches. They were thinking different genres, and so then the studio brought someone in to try to recut the director's footage last minute, and then we ended up with Suicide Squad.
This is gonna be like the Hobbit trilogy all over again.
Yeah.
It's obviously never a good thing to lose a director mid-shoot, and it really doesn't happen that often, although it's not entirely unprecedented. It's happened a handful of times with movies like Moneyball, American History X, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and most famously happened on Superman 2 when Richard Donner was replaced early in the shoot.
Yeah, in this instance, there were only 3 to 4 weeks left of filming on Han Solo, which started shooting all the way back in January, so it kind of seems like whatever damage they could have avoided has maybe already happened, and a lot of may need to be reshot to pull this movie out of the carbonite. But Disney did show last year they were able to salvage Rogue One, so it's possible the same thing could be the case here. If nothing else, they at least have a very specific vision clearly for what they want it to be, no matter how many reshoots it may take. As for who could direct it in the absence of Lord and Miller, sounds like Ron Howard might be up for taking the reins of Han Solo, right? Which somehow still is managing to be on schedule for May 2018 despite this pretty huge setback.
This hits at an interesting time while Episode 9 director Colin Trevorrow is under a lot of scrutiny, with many people wondering if he's going to be in the director's seat by the time that movie goes in production. His most recent movie, The Book of Henry, was released to really awful reviews.
Yeah, not great.
No,
not great on
with
that
some
one.
outlets calling it the most unsee movie of the year.
That's harsh criticism considering some of the movies that come out. Now, if there was any doubt they'd be quick to replace a director, that should be gone now, so
yeah.
Fingers crossed, Colin Trevorrow.
As for what this means for the closer and slightly more important episode 8.
Right,
yep,
we do
Roman
have to
numerals.
get through 8 before we get to 9.
According to insider Mike Sampson, Kennedy and Lucasfilm are very pleased with Rian Johnson's cut of that film. We'll get one good one at least. We'll get a good Star Wars movie again.
So we can rest easy. For now, because that one's coming first, and at least they do have almost a year to fix Han Solo. What do you guys think of this spin-off shitstorm for Han Solo? Let us know in the comments.
And for future updates of all things Star Wars, remember to like this video and subscribe to the Know.
And follow Andy on Twitter if you
like
really
prequel
wanna hear
memes.
about prequel stuff.
I'm sure the handle's right here or somewhere. Follow that.
No, it was at the beginning. It's gone now.
Wow.
That one last. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna. Kdin can stitch this together. No worries, Kdin.